Hey guys, super exciting update. One of the things that came out recently at WISK is our dashboards, or revamped version of our dashboards. So I'll probably do a full video where I walk through everything, but you now have this overview tab, your variance, your inventory, your purchases, your sales, all that good stuff. What I want to focus on today is actually something pretty neat that I find super useful, and so do our clients, which is your cost changes. So if you own a restaurant or bar, obviously you have a ton of food. You probably, if you have a beverage program, you probably have a bunch of liquor, wine, maybe beer. It's tough to micromanage those things and understand what's going up, what's going down in prices. So what's super cool about Whisk is we give you this table called cost changes. And for every single product, if the cost of that product changes, you'll actually understand what did it change to, what does that represent percentage wise, so then you can act on it. So super useful, highly recommend it. Example, Grey Goose went up from $35 to $36. All right, great. That's almost a 3% increase. And then obviously, what do you do with that? So that's one thing that I find super useful at the item level. But what's super neat is you can also do that at the recipe level. So not only Grey Goose, for example, but you can look at a Cosmo, let's say Cosmopolitan, and this would pull from your POS. You could see if you're selling it for $10 and your current cost based on this recipe breakdown is $268. That means it's a 26% cost. So not only can you track it at the item level and say, hey, look, my price of Grey Goose changed, but you can actually also track it at the recipe level. So if you want to make no less than 30%, or sorry, make 70%. So if you don't want your cost to be over 30%, you could set a threshold. We call it the cost alert. What I love about this is it allows you to set a threshold for all your recipes, food or beverage. And then without worrying, because you're able to scan your invoices into Whisk, these prices are automatically updating, these costs, I should say, which means that the total cost updates, which means that this percentage will update. If this cost percentage hits whatever threshold you put here, you get notified. So it's a great way without having to worry about micromanaging. Now, I know what you're thinking. Oh, this will take me forever. So what I recommend when I deal with clients is if they want to get started, they could just search a filter by sold in the last 30 days. So it's the more popular items. Once that page loads, then you can multi-select it. And we have something called a relative cost alert. So the cost percentages are here. And let's say for each one, you just want to add a 2 or 3% threshold. So instead, example, this one's 28%, it would set it to 30.57. This one's 32, so the threshold would be 34.14. So with one click, I could set this to 2%, and it would take a couple. I won't do it now because I don't want to actually set it. But if I click OK, it'll update all of them. And you can do this for all of your items. In this case, I did the most sold, but there's nothing stopping me from just doing it for everything. What I personally recommend for speed is multi-selecting all the items, setting a 2% or 3%, and then looking at your most sold items. So you can maybe filter by the last 30 days most profitable, for instance. Sorry, let me filter the other way. And the ones that are profitable, ideally, you could be a bit tighter. So if this is 22%, maybe you want to set the threshold to 23.86. So you can add a 1% relative cost. So those are just two ways that I recommend you can get a tighter control on your margins, is both at the recipe level and at the item level. And then just to be clear, it shows you the price differences on that table, but you can open up any item and actually set what we call the alerts over right over here. So you can set the cost alert. So for example, I'm currently paying 36, and it's great because the table will show me every time it changes, but maybe I want to be notified if ever this hits $38. So just to keep that in mind, you can set this at the item level, and you can also set it at the recipe level. So another example might be maybe you buy chicken. So at the chicken level, you want to set an alert. Hey, if it's ever more than X amount per pound or per kilo, let me know. No problem. But then you might want to send it at the recipe level because you might sell chicken soup and you have a certain margin, and you might sell chicken sandwiches and have a certain margin. So Whisk give you the flexibility. I'll stop this video here. I just wanted to show you that because that's something you can do. And what I love about doing that is it's kind of a set it and forget it type of thing. You set your kind of alerts, you set your thresholds, and then as long as you're scanning your invoices and using Whisk, you will get notified. So it's one of those high leverage things. You do it once, You can obviously update it every once in a while over time, but it's a ton of value, and it really, really helps, especially when you have multiple venues, because now it's hundreds of SKUs of items times multiple venues. It becomes very, very hard to manage. So it's just a way to manage it with WISK. Feel free to check out WISK.ai for more resources and schedule a demo with one of our product specialists to see if it's a fit for you.